Hey folks, it's a man once again. Welcome back to another Talk About Wrestling. This one being SummerSlam of 1988. Which, this one I enjoyed overall. I really did enjoy this one. One problem, you back the Gorilla Monsoon doing commentary, but instead of just a Ventura, it's Superstar Billy Graham, and I'm sorry, Superstar Billy Graham just doesn't cut it. The Bulldogs versus the Rougeaus. Pretty much, Rougeaus are working on Davey Boy Smith's legs, and it's a time limit draw, so there's no winner. So it was okay, but the fact that there's no winner kind of sucks. They do a playback, Ron Bass hurting Bruce Beefcake with a choke, and then he gets some spurs, is cutting Beefcake's face, and you see some blood, but there's a big red X censoring it. That's how it was back in the day. So it shows that Beefcake's going to be out for a while. Bad News Brown versus Ken Patera. It was boring, and it was just bear hugs. Ken Patera looks like a muscular Richard Simmons. Bad News Brown does the Ghetto Blaster where he puts his feet up at the same time, hits the guy at the back of the head, and wins. Yeah, fun promo with Hogan and Savage, because at this time they were the Mega Powers. Great tag team. Then you get Rick Rude versus Junkyard Dog. And Rick Rude, again, I always liked him as a villain. You know, him coming out. All you fat, ugly, inner city sweat hogs. Keep the noise down while I take off my robe and show you, your ladies, what a real man's body looks like. You get some, JYD, you tell that he was pretty much getting out because really this was here to set up more of a feud between Rick Rude and Jake the Snake Roberts because he shows up at the end. Like JYD becomes the third wheel, even though he's the guy in the match, and just shows that it doesn't matter anymore for him because he does like a backdrop, some headbutts. Rick Rude does some double axe handles and beats up JYD. Takes him down. Does this weird thing where he goes up and he like does a jump punch where he jumps. When he lands, he punches right on the guy's chest. But then he goes on top, Rick Rude, and he pulls his pants down. And underneath is another pair of pants with actually Jake the Snake Roberts' wife, her face on his pants, which that's pretty fun for a bad guy to do. Of course, Jake was pissed, runs out, starts beating the shit out of him, clotheslines him, and Rick Rude wins by disqualification. But that's what I mean, like JYD, he was the third wheel, and people remember Jake Roberts and Rick Rude, not JYD. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't like it because I liked the Jake Roberts and Rick Rude and the whole having Jake Roberts' wife on his pants and Jake coming out because he's pissed. So I did like it. It just Junkyard Dog was kind of put out to the shitter. The Bolsheviks versus the Powers of Pain. You had some gut wrench suplexes, double teaming. Powers of Pain wins. Didn't carry the way. You get a Brother Love segment, which is a guy who had like pink, reddish pink on his face. They would come out and go, "I love you," and interview people. And this was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And pretty much saying that, if you don't leave, I'm going to stick this boy where the sun don't shine. I'm going to count to 5. Fucks up Brother Love. And then you get the best part of the night. Which is, so far I'm like, okay, Bulldogs versus Rougeaus is a decent match, just there's no winner. The Rick Rude JYD, I like Rick Rude and Jake the Snake Roberts getting involved. mean, the match itself isn't anything, but the stuff around it was cool. I think one reason I really liked this was the Honky Tonk Man versus the Ultimate Warrior. I really enjoyed that. I really did. Honky Tonk Man was the longest Intercontinental champion at this point, and Bruce Beefcake, I believe, was supposed to fight him, but because they showed Beefcake got fucked up by those Spurs, but Ron Bass, he's like, I'll take any challengers. And Ultimate Warrior comes in real fast, punches him, does a shoulder tackle, splash, and wins. 1, 2, 3, and like, just like that, he becomes the Intercontinental Champion. Completely demolishes Honky Tonk Man. And considering I like Ultimate Warrior, I hate Honky Tonk Man. The crowd was insane in the reaction, and that's like the best moment of the. That's definitely the best moment. That was the best part of the night. The thing for me was Ultimate Warrior again just demolishing Honky Tonk Man. Don Morocco versus Dino Bravo. This was fun because Bobby the Brain Heenan joined the commentary, and it shows that this guy's really good at commentary. So Bobby the Brain Heenan was fun to listen to because of that. The match itself wasn't much. Dino Bravo wins. I don't know what the fuck the deal is with Dino Bravo. Why they kept using this guy. He was nothing as a bad guy. What, just because he was he French? I don't know, but there's really nothing to him. Nothing to his moves. Nothing to his character. Nothing to his promos. There's nothing to him, but for some reason, he keeps popping up a lot now. I guess Jesse Ventura wasn't on the commentary because he was going to be a guest referee, and so they have a promo for this. But I'm like, you could easily have had Jesse Ventura instead of Superstar Billy Graham, which would have been better because, again, Billy Graham didn't do nothing really. And Monsoon and Ventura, I like their chemistry together. You could have had him doing it until last match, and then last match you could have just had Monsoon by himself. Like, but Jesse Ventura could have been doing it up until then. And that way you could have been like, oh, I'm going to be fair, Monsoon. What are you talking about? And that didn't mean anything when, you know, Million Dollar Man just put money in my pocket. What am I supposed to do? Say no? It doesn't mean anything. Like, you could have played that out. So I thought that was a big mistake. And they have Jesse Ventura going to be the guest referee between the Mega Powers and the Mega Bucks. Hart versus Demolition. Yeah, it was a good clothesline, slingshot off the top ropes. But I believe Demolition won. Oh, for some reason, when they make these guys good guys like the Hart Foundation or, you know, the Rockers, they just figure, hey, let them lose all the time. Just let them lose, lose, and lose some more. Because Hart Foundation they don't win as much when they're the good guys. Same with the Rockers when I get to that. If you wonder what I'm doing, I'm typing, so I'm making sure I'm not missing anything from this pay-per-view. I mean, I think the reason I had fun with this is because I like the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks match, which is the last one. I like the Ultimate Warrior. That was a very fun one. Demolition versus Hart Foundation was a pretty decent match, but you know I like Bret the Hitman Hart, and the Hart Foundation is a good tag team. I like this one too. It's a short one, but Big Boss Man versus Coco Beware. I think this is the first time Big Boss Man's on a pay-per-view, and whether as a villain or as a hero, I like the Big Boss Man. I'm a fan of him. I thought he had a great character to him. He moved pretty decently for a big guy. I liked his outfit. He was a correctional officer that turned bad and then ultimately be a good guy. Just always liked the Big Boss Man. And of course he faces Coco Beware, and of course if you have Coco Beware in a match, he's going to lose. Because he always loses. It's like people like him because he's Bird and he can do a drop kick. Well, he's going to lose, so it doesn't matter. And he punches. Coco Beware, avalanche in the corner, clothesline. Does some crazy attempts like jump off the top buckle, but does this Big Boss Man slam and fucks up Coco Beware. I liked it. Coco Beware got some good drop kicks and stuff in it too, so I thought it was a fun little match. Pretty much to show Big Boss Man not to be fucked with, and I thought it worked. So I liked it. And I also like Jake the Snake Roberts versus Hercules, because I like Jake Roberts. You know, he's blocking punches, body slam, gets a bat suplex. But Jake the Snake does a smart thing and holds on. Just thought that would be cool. He's blocking punches of Hercules. He's able to body slam Hercules. Hercules, again, I don't want to repeat myself, but does this suplex, uh, but Jake the Snake is holding on. No, actually, I'm trying to think about that part. Someone keeps holding on. I thought, wow, that's a really smart idea. I think it was Jake the Snake Roberts who keeps holding on. Oh yeah, he's holding on to the headlock, but then Hercules does a bad suplex. But Jake the Snake keeps holding on to the chin. And I thought, again, that's a pretty cool idea. Hercules gets him on this, but Jake the Snake does a chin breaker, able to get the DDT. So he's able to see the DDT, get a win. Fine with me. Then it shows the lead up to the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks. About how, of course, Randy Savage won against $1 Million Man at WrestleMania 4. There's a time where he was getting beaten up. Miss Elizabeth came out with Hulk Hogan, who helped. Macho Man shook Hulk Hogan's hand. The Mega Powers starts, have begun. And of course, $1 Million Man doesn't like either of those guys. Andre the Giant definitely doesn't like Hulk Hogan. And the match was, you know, Jesse Ventura as a special guest referee had a bit of interest in that. Very fast-paced, fun, live ass kicking. The Mega Powers win. It was just a fun match. I liked the Mega Powers. They're beating the shit out of $1 Million Man. All four began brawling. Oh yeah, this moment too. Miss Elizabeth was arguing with Ventura and took her skirt off to reveal her underwear, and people are just staring at her. So that's when, in the previous promo, they said, oh, our secret weapon, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, is Miss Elizabeth in her underwear, which, hey, I would stop and look too. And they got distracted. Macho dropped the big elbow on DiBiase, and then Hogan did the leg drop on DiBiase and pinned him 1, 2, 3. And even Jesse Ventura was doing a slow 3 count, and Macho Man finished it for him, and they won. So that was a fun match. Didn't miss Elizabeth involved. It wasn't just 100% being beaten up and then doing 3 things and winning. You know, $1 Million Man, he took a big elbow and a leg drop, so you didn't really weaken the bad guy, his stance, because, hey, of course he got beat. He got 2 finishing moves back to back. And overall, I thought it was a fun match. It was just cool to have Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan on the same team, and I can't remember much other matches they did other than between these two and then a team and Big Boss Man. Those are the only tag team matches I can remember. I don't know if they did more. So those are the only 2 I can remember. And overall, I looked at this again. The Bulldogs versus Rougeau had some good back and forth. Just wish there was an actual winner. Rick Rude versus Junkyard Dog. Rick Rude, is always nice to see him in there. It wasn't too long, and I like, again, the idea that the bad guy has a picture of your wife on his pants. That would piss anyone off. Ultimate Warrior demolishing Honky Tonk Man, against my favorite moment of the SummerSlam. Hearts versus Demolition, 2 pretty good tag teams. Demolition more of a power team. Heart Foundation more of a technical team. Some good stuff in there. Big Boss Man, I like him. It was nice to see him. I think this was the first pay-per-view he was in. That was a fun match. Jake the Snake getting the DDT and fucking up Hercules was cool. And again, the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks. That was, I think, a fun finale to the pay-per-view. So I know this is a shorter than usual one, but I'm trying to make these shorter so they're not 30, 40 minutes long. I'm trying to get them shorter because, I don't know, so I feel like I'm wasting people's time. But now, I'll take my time, but at the same time, I don't want to take 40 minutes. It's like, fuck, I could watch the whole pay-per-view in the amount of time you get done with talking about it. But anyway, SummerSlam 1988. The first SummerSlam. I didn't even say that. This was the very first SummerSlam. And I liked it. I thought, wow, this is a pretty fun thing. I can see why they kept going with this. So, like I said, this time was interesting because before WrestleMania 4, you had the first Survivor Series or Royal Rumble, and after WrestleMania 4, you had the first SummerSlam. And that's pretty damn cool. It's pretty interesting. So, thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.